gun so he can tag his ear and study his mating habits. Film at 11. Is it cool enough in here today? It has been, with people around the freezing. You're from Buffalo. Oh. Yeah. I hope you have a better year than you had last year. You're not going back. Certain parts of the country will not believe it, and we should not dwell on it out here too much, but the weather here is a little weird for this time of year. It was 92 here in Los Angeles today, and in certain parts of the country it's below freezing. And here we come with another typical California Christmas. It's weird getting used to it. That's where all the children get together and sing Christmas carols and dance around Frosty the Puddle. Weird. What happened? Frosty died. You don't start. We're going to start this again this year because Ed and I have had a thing going for years. He does not go shopping until Christmas Day, is what he says.
The Eve.
The Eve, Christmas Eve. Because obviously you get better bargains in or something. I don't know. What?
Stores are relatively empty. It's easy to
find.
And
the shelves are relatively empty, too. Have you been in Beverly Hills on Rodeo Drive?
Yes.
Have you seen that in the magazines? That's the new elegant, I guess it rivals Fifth Avenue in New York City now. It's one of the most expensive shopping centers in the entire... It's very exclusive up there. I want to tell you, it is exclusive.
How,
You're getting it. You're getting it. I want to tell you, it's so exclusive up there. If you want to pay cash, you have to show me your driver's license. And if you don't drive up in a Rolls Royce, they give you a bath and a hot meal. It's very exclusive up there. By the way, the post office has asked me to announce, please don't mail your packages early this year, or they're going to get mixed up with last year's packages. Well, now, okay. I know what will happen tomorrow. We will get a phone call here at NBC from the post office saying you're just joking, weren't you? No. Okay, let's get it out of the way right now. We're joking. Mail your packages. What happened back in Washington today? Oh, the White House announced that President Carter is going to hold another press conference tomorrow. And we'll see what happens when the president says he's going to hold a press conference. All the major networks have to make time for that press conference. Do you realize that President Carter has held more press conferences since he has been in office about a year ago than any other president in history? Apparently, Mr. Carter wants the public to be the first to know in case anything happens while he's in office. The president's having a few problems. He can't get any of his programs past Congress. He likes to take his case right to the people, see, via television. Carter knows that this is a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. He just can't get anybody to tell Congress that. That was kind of a historical joke, a documentary joke. That was kind of break the rhythm between the biggies, you see, and just give you a little rest period there. Rest time is over. Gerald Ford is back in the news. Yeah, Gerald, he addressed a business group down in Palm Springs, California, and Gerald Ford told these businessmen that we should have a tax cut to stimulate the economy. Now, I have a feeling, but when somebody starts talking that way, he's planning to run for presidency again, wouldn't you guess, in the next election? Oh, yeah. They're little things. For example, Ford visited the Indian reservation down in Palm Springs and promised the Indians a pardon for what they did to Custer. That's a political move. Our own governor, Governor Jerry Brown, was in the news today. He's off to England. He's going to have some business meetings over there and meet Prince Charles, who was over here a few months ago. And our governor out here, Jerry Brown, is frugal. Let's be honest. He's cheap. He's cheap. Did you know he bought his own ticket and his flying economy? That's true. He went down, $140 ticket, one way. I guess he's going to pick up the other one over there if he'll buy them one way. He is a little tight. He's the only one who goes to McDonald's and orders day-old Egg McMuffins. No, he went down to Laker Airways. You know, Freddie Laker, who put in these no-frills flight. The Brown went down himself, plunked down $140 cash, and it is really a no-frills fight. For example, the passengers get together just before the flight and elect a pilot. Now, I don't know if this is true, so Lakers shouldn't call. I understand if this plane would happen to go down in the ocean, in the water, they don't offer you a life preserver. What you do, you have to hang on to that little laminated card that points out the location of the emergency exit. Probably not true. Probably up the airlines. No, Brown is mad at the airlines because he lost his luggage. He had a perfectly matched set of cardboard boxes. And they lost those. He's the only man I know who goes to Europe with one traveler's check. But anyway, he's coming. Here's an item in the news. If you saw the Rams play in Cleveland did you see that game in the snow? The Rams came from this weather, went back there, it was 20 degrees, and what was the final score of that game?
9-0.
9-zip. They put him out. And Pat Hayden, the L.A. Rams quarterback, announced today, he's doing a great job. He's doing a good job. Announced today that he wore pantyhose. Yeah, he said the same kind that Joe Namath wore to keep his legs warm. And when Anita Bryant heard the news, she said, "Thank God I'm selling orange juice instead of Gatorade." Anita does not object to football players wearing pantyhose, but she would not allow school children to be tackled by them. That's the one difference. Okay, tonight we have got a good show. We have Charles Nelson Reilly. All three of those people are with us. The young man from Star Wars, Mark Hamill, is with us tonight. Eugene Fodor and Dr. William A. Nolen, and we'll be with you with We'll be right back.
Oh, yes, didn't know we were back.
Look like Star Wars around here.
Got a great group here tonight.
Yeah, that's a great audience. Great audience. And shamelessly applaud themselves, I might add. You know, sitting and watching, you know how many football games were on since Thanksgiving Day until last night on national television?
A lot.
11 or 12 games out here. You can just about get a little... after a while, I don't even know who's playing.
Yeah.
But that game playing in the snow is wild, isn't it? 2 or 3 inches of snow on the ground. And how in the hell do you catch a ball or pass when it's like that? But the Rams did well. You know, are you a big football?
Oh, very big. I saw most of the games.
All right, I have here in my hands the official rules for professional football, put out by the National Football League. This was in 1976. Pete Rozelle, commissioner.
Mm-hmm.
I do get a little confused sometimes with all of the signals. Let's see how many of them you know. I'll give you the signals. Right. You know this one, of course?
Right. Yes. Touchdown.
Touchdown.
Right.
Now, don't look.
I can't read it from here anyway.
That's right. If I go like this, what does that mean?
First down.
First down. Very good.
That's,
No. No. Loss of down.
Loss of down.
Loss of down. Time out. No, your deodorant isn't gone. We'll take care of those later. Mind your own business. All right, you know this? Delay of the game, right.
Yes, clipping.
Personal foul.
Oh, personal foul.
Holding.
Pass interference.
Illegal use of hands, pass interference. Let's see if I can find one here that I will not remember. All right. Here's one I haven't seen. Okay. What that is? That's what the man has
What
here.
is that?
Pass juggled inbounds and caught out of bounds.
I've never seen that.
That's what do you know what this is when they do put the hand? Illegal forward pass. Boy, this band is sharp. Here's the one that somebody said before. It was this. That's the one. Ineligible receiver down the field. And what is this? And don't say he's going to fly.
No.
Unsportsmanlike conduct.
That's what... Wow.
Yeah. I didn't know all of these. Let's see. You know what this is? No, this is standing just like this. Now, do you know what this is?
I don't. Anybody know?
Get to the floor.
No, crawling, pushing, or helping runner. I've never seen that one in a game.
No.
Well, there they are.
Yeah.
So you can
NFL
buy
puts that book
That's
out?
right.
I should get that.
You should.
Because I watch football all the time. It's my favorite sport.
Hold on. Yeah?
NFL puts... Let me see the cover.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
silver.
great.
Silver.
I'll try to get a copy of that.
I wish you
because
would.
I've got quite a definitive library on football,
I know
but I
you
don't
do.
have that book. And
Uh-huh.
there's a book, boy, that certainly says it all. I mean, if you want to know every signal in the world, look in that book. Every single rule and signal is in that book.
You are wrong, locker room breath. We have some more. Okay.
There's more.
Okay, we have some. I'm calling Pete Rozelle personally after the show
To tell him.
to suggest
Some
that they are missing some signals they should have in there. For example, it's not in there.
What is that?
Whose tooth is this? You've never seen
Wasn't
that.
in the book?
Wasn't in that book. Didn't get it in there. Okay, this should be in there.
Oh. What's that?
Player relieving himself in the huddle.
Shame.
Shame, shame. All right.
What is it?
Timeout to remove dead man from field. Hasn't come up. Excessive use of uppers, 10 yards.
What is it?
No. Unlacing ball for immoral purposes. I swallowed my whistle. You don't see that? You seen this one?
What is that? What's that?
Dancing during the Star-Spangled Banner. 10 yards.
What's that?
Illegal use of the majorette.
It wasn't in the book.
That's right. And
What's that?
what?
What's that?
Please tell Howard Cosell to shut up. That's what they hate to have in the book. Oh, there. Okay. We have Charles Nelson Reilly with us tonight, Mark Hamill, Eugene Fodor, one of the great violinists in the world, and Dr. William M. Nolen, one of the fine doctors in the world. Who would like to be a violinist?
Here's one of the fine commercials.
Here's one of the fine commercials. After we do this fine commercial, we'll be back for this fine show. Thank you, Doctor. We have returned. I should point out that we billboarded a guest to be on tonight's show that is not with us. Very glamorous, exciting country western singer Dolly Parton. And she came down with the flu, and she was very nice. She's a lovely girl. She called today and said she was very sorry that she had to cancel. And she's going to be with us, I think, on December the 14th, if I recall. And we told her to get well. So quickly, we had to get somebody to fill in. And so we called in somebody we knew would probably be at home with nothing to do. So would you please welcome the dependable, sincere, and really nice Charles Nelson Reilly.
Yes. Good evening.
Good evening. How are you? It's nice
Wonderful.
to see you.
And you were nice enough to bring Dolly's album
Well,
out,
sure.
which she would have shown tonight.
I didn't know which pictures to use on the cover, so I used all three.
Dolly Parton. Yeah, she's quite a young lady.
Good singer. Good entertainer. She takes a chance. She takes a risk. That's why she's good. She is an original.
That's true.
And
so
I
are
like
you.
her very much. Well, I'll put it here with the other thing. It's a
right.
good album. Here You Come Again, it's called.
All right.
And it's produced by Gary Klein.
That's not necessary.
And it's special thanks for the inspiration of Charles Kopelman. Whoever the hell he is. That's what it says in the thing.
You are dressed again you're dressed to the nines, as they said.
It's the only thing I have.
Where did that expression come from? Does anybody know?
Dressed to the
Dressed
nines?
to the
Did
nines.
we find out where turkey came from? I was up all
We
night
never
a couple
found
of
out where
nights
that
ago.
expression.
A bad show is a turkey and dressed
I
to the
told
nines.
you that, the answer to that, many years ago.
Well, we discussed it, but you were gone the
All
other
right.
night.
Because on Thanksgiving
That's
night,
what we discussed. You have
in
to
the
go no
theater.
further. But nobody knew that.
But no one knew what it
I
meant.
know it, and I told you, so now you know it.
It's Kurt tonight, isn't he?
Yes,
No,
he
no.
is.
That's 2 out of 210
He's doing film.
million.
He's
No.
doing films on the
No,
outside,
that's-
you know.
Oh, I know.
The more films you do, the
No, that's
crazier he
supposed
gets.
to be right. That audience was a tough audience because they were filled with turkey. Therefore, the play was a turkey.
But we
night.
don't know if
But
that
I didn't
originated
buy
that
that.
way.
I heard you say that.
Yeah.
You did it lovely.
Thank you.
But I didn't buy that for some reason.
How about dressed to the nines?
I don't know either. This is just a little thing I got, you know.
Yeah. Well, look, you came in as a last-minute replacement.
That's all right.
and I think
My
it's very
career,
nice. No, I'm delighted you're here, and I didn't have time to really get any questions.
Only
but
call I got this week. What, I'm
I
sorry.
have the questions. I was going to ask Dolly Parton, so I
You're
just
gonna
thought
ask-
I would ask them
You're
of
going to
you.
ask what?
I'd ask you the same questions I would ask Dolly Parton.
All right, if it makes it easy for you. No, I know you're here only a few nights a week. I don't want to confuse things. You could ask me whatever you
Hostile
want.
forces are
no, but
gathering
this
on the
is
horizon.
this is all. It's the weather and all the strange Santa Ana wind.
That's what
Oh, I know. Here's a question I would ask Dolly Parton, because she always talks about it. She says she has a variety, something like 100 or 150 different wigs when she performs. Is that a problem when you perform?
Would you repeat the question?
Is a problem carrying all of those wigs? You have to have little wig boxes and little heads to put
Well,
them
I
on?
don't have one wig box. See, and I don't wear a wig when I perform. But I wear a wig all the time. I mean, I get up in the morning, I put on the coffee first, and this goes on. You see.
Right.
So I don't have a lot of wigs. I have this one. $1,900, you don't buy 12.
I don't want people to think that I'm cruel in referring to this, because you have referred
No,
to
I have referred to it the last time I was on.
Yes, so I
this
didn't
is
want them to
held
think-
on. It is artificial.
I didn't want to
It
think
is
I was
held
being
on.
cruel.
No, you're not cruel. You're a lovely host and a legend in your own time.
Thank you.
But it's true. But the thing is, this is held on by 3 pieces of invisible tape.
Right.
And it's, I just have one. I don't have, one for this. And people, a lot of guys have long, short crew
Really?
cuts. Yeah, some guys
Like
have.
when they need to make it look like they need a haircut, and then they go in and put on the shorter one?
Oh, yeah. And then they have some with, they really do. They dandruff and all of that
They
stuff.
come with a little box of dandruff?
They have
too?
everything. Then the other guys, one guy I has it, a friend of mine has it, it's got 3, 1, 2, and 3. Calls them 1, 2, and 3.
Good,
and you,
good.
well, good for the, like this is 1, 2, 3 is for the exercise class and the meditation and all that stuff. So you don't, and for the beach.
Right.
And you change them. I haven't got time. I don't brush my teeth. I don't take care of myself. I got one thing. The 3 pieces of tape go on. It goes on. I say hello to the mailman. He doesn't know. And I'm ready for the rest of the
You've
day.
never picked up the mail sans hair?
No, I don't. It's funny. It's very funny. I used to have it sewed into my head permanently.
I didn't know.
But it was a suture process, which was very comfortable. It was wonderful. And then you never took it off.
Right.
5 years I had it that way. Then one day I thought I was working out of town in a play, and the sutures were giving me trouble, so I said, back to tape. I'm going to go on tape. So what happened was, when you have it permanently on your head, you don't have a toupee. You see, you forget it. It's there permanently.
That's right.
But when you got it in the palm of your hand, and you're combing it, trying to keep it away from the dog, suddenly it dawns on you that possibly you have and must accept at this time in your life artificial hair. Now, see, Dolly looks great in it, and, so that's okay.
It becomes a costume for her.
Yeah, and we also try to encourage people who are balding or losing hair to, if it looks real. Mm-hmm. It's very funny. The doctor that put it on my head said it will never come off, no matter what.
Well, that's nice to know.
So I made a pilot film once, and I didn't read the script carefully. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I was in the hotel, and I went down to the lobby to do the shots. It was with Karen Ballantyne in New York, and it was snowing. And so I'm in the lobby, and the man said, well, we can't do the scene we wanted to do at the ice skating arena, so we'll do all your helicopter shots. I said, what? So I never read it. So I went on 2 helicopters all day, and the second helicopter was in Sheep's Meadow, and I'm standing in the snow, and I had a line that said, you never can get a helicopter when you want one. Oh, there's one. And it landed next to me, a big helicopter.
You're basically big.
Large, you're largy. And the doctor said that nothing will take this hair off.
Except?
Now, so as it comes down, Karen Ballantyne is doing the scene with me, blows away in the snow, and there's 2 shoes in the snow, and she's down the hill. Then I thought possibly this could be the day when the doctor was mistaken. So I said, can we stop just for a moment, please? I have to discuss something with the director. So I discussed with the director the simple fact that maybe if I held the hair tight,
Right.
it would look like I was concerned about my hairdo rather than...
And it would be natural with a helicopter
Well,
there.
like this, I sort of would, just casually holding it. But the thing was everything blew away, but the hair stayed on. And when you see the film, it never sold. Nothing I ever did ever sold. You know what I mean?
Have you made other pilot films for television?
Every week I make a pilot film.
Do you remember the names of any of them?
I made one once. I forgot the name, but it was at Universal. It was about the ghost goes west, and I was the ghost. Right. And I remember I had to climb a high chandelier and go in the chandelier and I had high heel shoes. It was a period piece.
You know
what I mean? Yes. And so I got up in the thing, and they yelled, lunch! And I was left up in lunch for about 45 minutes. But and then there was a period in television all through the 60s and early 70s, where they thought, get Reilly, he'll goose up the series. You know, as the neighbor next door.
Right.
You know what I mean? That was
boss,
that period,
right.
yeah. And every time I got on one, it went off. Then finally, after 8 years, they said, he's not really goosing them too well. Off right away.
Did you ever think of not wearing the hair sometime and think of the different roles you could play? When they wanted an older or that kind, you could remove the hair.
Why don't you save that question for Dolly Parton?
And play a character role, you see?
Well, I couldn't do that, my image.
Right.
If you open a door, something could happen. It could go right off.
All right. We're going to be back and continue this interview with other things in just a moment. Our guests tonight are Mark Hamill, Eugene Fodor, Dr. William A. Nolen, and Dolly Parton on my right. And you were very nice, Tom. I want to thank you for coming in at the last minute.
It's wonderful.
And jumping in here and helping us out tonight.
My pleasure, anytime.
And as I said, I had a couple of questions I was going to ask Dolly, so just pretend you're Dolly. If I remember,
to lean forward a little.
Yes, well, not too far, or they'll get out the seismograph. I understand you were the fourth of 12 children from a poor Tennessee family, and you're part Dutch, Irish, and Cherokee Indian.
Close. I come from a family of one, just me, and it's close. Swedish and Irish.
You're Swedish and Irish?
Yes.
Oh, did you ever follow your genealogy back?
No, it's for some reason I don't care. I don't know why.
A lot of people
My cousins do. They go to Sweden and they search and search. I don't know. I haven't had time.
Reilly sounds more Irish.
Reilly, my father was Irish. My mother's birthday is today. She's 81 today.
November? Right?
Yes.
Well, happy birthday.
November 30th.
Happy birthday. That's very nice.
She's a funny lady.
What was her maiden name?
Nelson, my middle name.
No, that's Swedish, yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't ever live in Minnesota, did you? When I lived in Nebraska, Minnesota has a very large...
Connecticut. But we were very poor.
Yeah. Were you poor?
Very poor.
How poor were you?
Well, we had no money at all. We had no heat. I didn't have heat till I was 30. And that's true.
Oh, come on.
Now, see, you say, come on. Dolly Parton had all the brothers. They went out, they got wood. It was hot. No matter how poor they were, it was hot. Right. We did not have heat. We had a little stove in the kitchen that you put oil in. And I didn't get my first radiator till I was 30 years old. And I just looked at it, and I kept it on August, September, October. Sure, I never...
It's cold in Connecticut, too.
Oh, it's freezing, yeah. So we never had very much.
Well, I'm sorry, I didn't know that.
No, but now it's better. It pays off. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because you can't appreciate anything unless you have been without.
No. Then, I always cast my family. You should always cast. You know, you cast the family. Like, my mother would be Shirley Booth, my father, Frederick March.
Right.
My uncle would be Ed Begley, and my aunt, Claire Trevor. And I'm Wally Cox as a child. Like that, you think.
Yeah.
You do it. And the parts were too good. Like, my uncle would go out every night. We lived 7 of us, and my grandfather and my grandmother in a 2.5-room apartment in Hartford. Tell that to your Dolly Partons. They had everything. Those people had acres over there.
Really? And you didn't share
2.5 rooms. And a lot of fish sticks. That's all we had was fish sticks. So my uncle, first of all, they always thought I was odd.
Really?
You know what? I was odd.
Because you wanted to be in show business, you mean?
Well, I had different ideas. I had big ideas. Get away from those big notions. So I took my humble place in the 2.5 rooms with my grandmother, my grandfather, my uncle, my aunt, my mother, and my father.
The 2.5 rooms?
Well, you took a number off the wall, and you got a chance at the bed. It was wonderful. And then what happened was they would stand in the doorway, and I couldn't see as a child. Now, these are true. Tell these to your Dolly Parton's brothers who had good eyesight from the fresh air. All right?
You were up in the woods going,
I didn't
where's
know.
the house?
First of all, people don't understand that when you're young, you don't know how you're supposed to see. You can't say, oh, I see badly, because you think this is it. You understand? You don't know.
Somebody else tells you.
Well, they can't tell you. You got to see it. Then at the age of 17, when the damage is done and the pain is continuing, I'll get through this.
Did you ever...
You go to the doctor.
Well, did you ever occur to you that you might have had a radiator, but you couldn't see it?
I love you. No, we didn't.
You just didn't know where it was.
Because, you see, you developed a sense of heat. You would be more susceptible to know there was something there.
Of course, you...
So then when you when you go to the teacher says, I think maybe the kid needs glasses. You know what I mean?
That's really kind of bad.
Well, it's true because you don't know.
It's like hearing.
And when you wake up, yes, you wake up and you can't see the bureau or the clock. You don't know what time it is. And then you go to a doctor and he says, I'm going to try number 5. And you go like this, you go, holy, wow.
Mommy.
Wow, is this what it's supposed to be? But until that time, so I never was sports-like. You know what I mean? I never played sports because I couldn't see the ball. I barely could see the schoolyard.
Well, didn't you know when you couldn't see the ball?
Well, I figured...
You couldn't see?
No, I could see softball. I was good with softball. I was terrific with softball, but that's kind of a game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I didn't do too good. So anyway, my uncle and everyone would stand in the door, my aunt, and they would say to me, boy, that kid is odd. My father would say to me, and I was sewing puppets, you know, close, like this. I was sewing puppets. There was nothing wrong with that.
I mean, you were just close.
You know what I mean? So my father would say, his big line was, why don't you go out and throw a ball around? You know what I mean? And I would go. I could see the thread. So anyway, this went on. I was strange. You understand what I mean?
I think I'm getting the picture.
And then what happened was...
That hurts, doesn't it? When you hear people say the boy is odd, that hurts, right?
Well, I could tell you. So I have a book that I'm writing that's coming out that will tell, you know, it's a very... But I mean, I think all comedians go through a lot of pain. And it's my mother's birthday, so you think of all the funny things. It was difficult.
But basically...
It was not too good. You know what I mean? But then you have dreams, you know. But it's true, I didn't have a radiator till I was 30. So anyway, 2 years ago, I'll get the end of this segment. Okay. We'll go out with a laugh.
Don't hurry.
They always would say I was odd. You know, and now, for instance, I used to play the accordion. Now, Eugene Fodor.
That's not odd.
That's not odd. Did you ever see a kid say, Mommy, could I have an accordion? Check around this Christmas.
No, usually it's forced on you.
You know what I mean? When did you say, I'll wait for the accordion, gift wrap it, please? Did anyone buy an accordion? Wally and Wallace Welk. No, but I mean, I had an accordion and I was thin.
Did you want an accordion?
No, the guy next door played it and my mother said, give him an accordion. So I had an accordion and it was heavy and I couldn't carry it and I couldn't stand up. So I had a sled and I pulled this with no heat. I had a sled and I pulled this accordion and I played all this accordion. So anyway, to make
the accordion around on the sled?
Yeah, and then I went with a girl, Ruth Senkel.
Ruth Senkel.
Who used to play the flute. Now, she would whip out the flute from her pocketbook, do a couple of cadenzas, and the house would come down at every school function. By that time, I'm halfway up the hill with a hernia, and the accordion is on the thing. And I play my thing, and I get a mild applause. Now, wait a minute. A mild applause.
Did you do Lady of Spain?
No, my big one was Two Guitars by Monty and Americana. But anyway, to make a long story short...
It's too late for that
now. To tie it up now. To tie it up, 2 years ago, I have to bring an old story. I don't like to repeat myself. No. But 2 years ago, when we were gas rationed, right? Remember, we had to go.
Sure,
we were either odd or.
Oh, you're talking about clear back to World War II?
Yes, just 2 years ago, we had the ration.
Oh, odd or even, the days when you could buy gas. Yes.
Odd or even.
Right.
That's another thing. That's another thing that's funny. So anyway, I went to the gas station. I got another one. I went to the gas station, and the guy said to me, okay, are you odd or even? And I said, you won't believe this, but I'm 44, and until today, I was odd. Now I'm even, fill it up. But the other thing, wait. I forgot what I was saying. I forgot. It went away.
That's a wonderful story.
Oh, it's true.
I did not know. I did not know to this moment you had such a traumatic childhood. We've all had our little...
No, I don't remember my childhood. It went away. I mean, I can't say what the first little bunny rabbit
Well, you remember
like.
that accordion on the sled.
These people write books like Lillian Hellman and Mrs. Lindbergh about their second birthday. And Aunt Louise wore a blue dress with white pearls. Yeah. How the hell can you remember your second birthday? And they only come up for 3 years, and that's 2 books. I'm 46, and I haven't got the frontispiece. You know what I mean?
You're odd. We'll be right back after this. Oh, that's wonderful. We're back. I mentioned earlier. So as not to be one of the few people in the country walking around saying, I haven't seen Star Wars, I went to see it last night. I'd seen a couple of film clips, and it's quite a trip. It's really a fun film, and it is and underneath all the special effects, it's a story about a kid growing up on a planet that has, not like ours, 2 suns, monsters and strange people under any rock, but he seems to be pretty normal, and he plays the central character from Star Wars. Would you welcome Mark Hamill? Mark? First of all, I say I never had so much fun in a motion picture since I was a kid and went to see Buck Rogers with Buster Crabbe. You see how quickly they forget Buster? Oh, that was a big... They show those now on Channel 13 around, and those were done, I think, in the early 30s. And that was considered, really far out.
Right.
They were way ahead of their time. But Star Wars is an amazing film.
It's exactly what inspired George to make it,
Really?
though, because he has that great love for... He loved the Alex Raymond illustrations for Flash Gordon. He loved Buck Rogers. And he just felt that he wanted to make a movie where there were real heroes again. He thought, with just cops busting people for dope and this and that, he said, now let's go to a galaxy far, far away where we don't have to know why these guys are bad. They're just bad.
Well, what it was a Western. It's a intergalactic Western with the good guys very carefully delineated.
Mm-hmm.
You know where the bad guys are. You know the good guys.
Yeah.
You got the hero and his buddy who go to get the princess, right? Leia.
Yeah.
And it's all of those composite things together, and it's just for pure fun. You don't have to sit and say, what is the message behind this?
No.
What probing deep message? I understand
Well,
some people. They told me some of the youngsters have been back 5, 6, and 7 times to see it.
We just visited the White House at that AFI film thing, and Amy Carter had seen it 5 times. We gave her a stormtrooper helmet from the movie,
one of the
white
ones?
helmets, and I told her to wear it at the dinner table every night.
So she doesn't have to see Billy. Yeah, that would be it. Yeah, I just read the other day, it's going to be, to sound mercenary, but you almost have to because it's a phenomenon in the business. And I'm sure when they made it, from what I understand, they really didn't have any idea because motion pictures are a gamble. You can spend a lot of money until the public shows up. They either make it or break it. But I understand it's going to be, if not already, one of the biggest. It's already
I asked today because so many people have asked, how much money has it made? And
people
when
answered that.
You don't know. You just say.
It's the largest grossing. It went over Jaws a few days ago.
Yeah, what was the final total?
Well, it's made 191 million in the United States in less than 6 months.
$191 million.
Yeah.
And it hasn't even been released overseas yet, right?
It's just opening now in Paris and Australia and a couple other places. But
that is incredible.
It is. When we were making it, people asked me, well, did you think it was going to be successful? And I thought I never really thought about it. I just thought, gee, this is great fun. I mean, they're giving us laser guns, and I get to rescue a princess, and
it looked like a campy thing to make.
Well, sure, and it was so hard. A lot of times, it's a true story. Harrison Ford, who plays the space pirate in the film, at one point threatened to tie George up and make him say his own lines at gunpoint. I mean, the dialogue was a little bit difficult. I remember there was one line that I just begged him to take out of the screenplay, and he finally did. And
you
it's
remember
when,
the line?
Yes, boy, I'll never forget it as long as I live. I sometimes dream about this line. It was just coming upon the exploded planet of the princess, Alderaan, and it's totally been blown away. And Harrison says, look, kid, I've done my part of the bargain. When I get to an asteroid, you, the old man, and the droids get dropped off. And my line was, but we can't turn back. Fear is their greatest defense. I doubt if the actual security there is any greater than it was on Aquilai or Solus, and what there is most likely directed towards a large-scale assault. And I thought, who talks like this, George? I mean, this is really not fair because, we're the ones that are going to get vegetables thrown at us, not you.
It's a lot of fun. Now, you got to remember, you are luckier than a lot of people in the film. At least people know you.
Oh,
I saw an item in Newsweek today. Just came out. about the fellow who played Darth Vader, who's an English actor.
That's right,
And
David Prowse.
David, what's his name?
Prowse. He's a British weightlifting champion.
And he says, here I am in one of the biggest grossing motion pictures of all times. And he plays, the Darth Vader, the guy in the black thing. Nobody knows who he is.
Yeah.
And the
little
midget playing
R2D2.
R2D2?
Well, our R2D2, there were about 9 different R2D2s, and 8 of them were real robots, either hydraulic air or radio-controlled or little wires. And one had Kenny Baker, who's the smallest man in England. It was really terrible because there'd be like 5 R2D2s all around the set, and we'd go to lunch, and we'd hear a little man going, let me out. We would be like placing bets on which R2D2 you thought he was in.
See, at least they know you by your face. How about the fellow who played the droid now? In the gold?
Oh, that's right, Anthony Daniels.
Nobody knows who he is.
And he was terrific.
One of the major actors in the whole thing. We have a couple of minutes. I'm going to show you a couple of minutes like it needs a plug or something. But those of you who haven't seen it might get a kick out of this. What particular scene is this, Mark? Do you know what we're going to see?
Yeah, this is, we've just rescued the Princess
Leia, right?
Princess Leia, and actually, it doesn't make any difference. If you just put it on,
just watch
we'll
it.
Have a good laugh.
It's too bad we don't have the whole stereophonic sound here. No, it's fun.
Blast us out.
Which way? All right, men, load your weapons. Stop that ship! Blast them! I'd forgotten how much I hate space travel.
It's like an Imperial cruiser. Our passengers must be hotter than I thought. Try and hold them off. Angle the deflector shield while I make the calculations for the jump to light speed. Stay sharp. There's 2 more coming in. They're going to try and cut us off.
Why didn't you outrun them? I thought you said this thing was fast.
Watch your mouth, kid. You're going to find yourself floating home. We'll be safe enough once we make the jump to hyperspace. Besides, I know a few maneuvers. We'll lose them. Here's where the fun begins. How long before you can make the jump to light speed? Take a few moments to get the coordinates from the navicomputer.
Are you kidding? At the rate they're gaining?
Traveling through hyperspace ain't like dust and crops, boy. Without precise calculations, we'd fly right through a star, or miles too close to a supernova, and that'd end your trip real quick, wouldn't it?
What's that flashing?
So listen to the deflector shield. Don't trap yourselves in. I'm going to make the jump to light speed.
Many people.
I love it.
Many people have compared it to Ibsen, actually.
Oh, yes, close. That's Fred
intellectual.
Ibsen, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, it's crazy.
So many people ask me about Sir Alec Guinness. I guess the 2 most often questions are Sir Alec and the robots. And there's a wonderful story that kind of tells you about both of them. There was many dwarves in the film and midgets to play little Jawas, little creatures.
Right.
And there was one who in real life was not an actor. He's a comedian. He's a stand-up comic in music hall, which is like vaudeville over there.
Right.
And he's a spritz comic. He's an insult comedian. He's like a waist-high Don Rickles. And seriously, he would just insult you. You could never deal with the guy because you couldn't get a joke in. He was just too funny. And an example, one of his running gags was he felt that it was an insult that he didn't get a chair with his name on it, and all the actors in the film did. So he found this rock in the Sahara Desert, this big flat rock, and he took a piece of adhesive tape and put his name in indelible ink, and he carried this rock every location we went on in Africa before the truck could even unload our chairs. While we were still, he would already be there with an umbrella, a little lemonade, some sunglasses, and sun oil. Say, oh, did your truck break down or what? So
Guinness is wonderful.
Well, that's it. We went one night to dinner with Sir Alec, and he's very reserved, kind of shy at first, but he has a sense of humor that really comes out, and he helped me get this guy. Because Tony Daniels, who played 3PO, said, tell Sir Alec what he told you. And I said, oh, yeah. Jack, who normally is always on, finally got serious one time. And he said, you know, I do joke a lot, but the truth of the matter is I am so in awe of Sir Alec Guinness. And I don't know what to say, because when I was a kid in London, I would go all over town on the bus to try and see one of his films. And I said, well, gee, didn't you meet him when we got on the charter airplane? And very seriously, he said, oh, yeah, he's a tremendous guy. When I got on the plane, he spoke to me straight away. He said, get out of my way. So I said, you little, I'm going to get you. And we told Guinness this. Now, Guinness chuckled, and he sort of stroked his beard. And we were in a big dining hall, and Jack, this little dwarf, was over holding court. Big laughs at the dinner table. And Guinness leaned over to me and said, which small person is he? And I said, see that guy over my right shoulder? Now, fade out. 2 weeks later, we're in the desert again. It's complete open wilderness. Everywhere you can look. You can walk with your eyes closed and never fall down. And Jack is sitting on his rock reading his book. And Guinness started very slowly walking towards Jack, and I said, this is it. This is the day. And I kind of watched from the side. Guinness had the hood on, like that big sorcerer's hood, and he's really ominous looking. And he kept getting closer to Jack and closer to Jack. And Jack started, like, looking around and thinking, well, I'd better say something. So he was halfway off his rock to say hello. And Guinness pulled the hood back and said, get out of my way! Get out! And Jack, the blood dropped from his face. And he was shaking. He just looked all around, because you could go anywhere and not bump into him. Well, Jack said to me, I have to hand it to you, when you play a practical joke, you get the best talented people in England.
That's funny. You can do the sequel to it, I understand, right?
Yeah.
Marvelous. Okay, we'll return after this message from Sears, the men's store. Okay, moving along. All right. My next guest.
Terrific, as usual.
My only regret is that Charles did not bring his accordion so you could have duetted together. We'll be back after this message from Teledyne. One step. We're back. We're talking with Eugene Fodor. And Dr. William Nolen will join us shortly. That was really beautiful. I was listening to you practice. I was in makeup, and I heard you in your dressing room.
Before we go on,
Yeah.
could I tell you, could I ask you if you know how much you're doing for classical music? Because I know we get off onto various topics, but I want you to know that when I go out to play a performance, you know, I get all psyched up, and I go out there and I play and this difficult stuff for 2 hours, you know, and I go back to my dressing room and open the door, and there's a line of people around through the hall and around the corner, and what do they come back to talk about? My concert that I've spent 20 years of my life practicing for it? No, they come and say, we saw you on Johnny Carson, and that's why we're here. Now, a lot of those people normally would not have gone to the concert. And some of them even think that it's not so painful. They might even enjoy it. So they go back another time, and then that's a new fan to classical music. So
That's
I want
great.
to thank you.
It's nice to hear. You know, another artist from the Metropolitan and other classical artists have said that. And it's been an education for us and a joy on the show to be able to present artists like you and other people from time to time. Because unless you're exposed to it, you know, what good does it do?
It's tough to play on this show.
Really?
Well, this is the television show.
Come on.
Well, let's face it. A concert, I mean, what?
Well, your concert, you're in your element. You mean,
Yeah.
I know what you're saying. You're
it's
saying
not
a concert in your element.
Yeah, but
and
it's
that's-
not because it's an unnatural kind of thing. I mean, Doc is one of the great musicians of this country, and,
Right.
and you know, being around him, and so I feel like I'm in a musical atmosphere. But, you know, what auditorium holds 15 million people? And this is the kind of market that...
Lying in bed.
You know, I wanted...
Obviously, you have taken lessons all your life, starting as a child, and it has to be expensive because you just don't go take from Harry and Al's violin shop. I mean, you got to take from a master, right?
You'd be surprised how many people do. You know, I'm often asked the question, how do you find a good teacher?
Right.
Well, it's a very difficult one indeed, because there are so many home-brewed approaches to the violin,
right.
whereas they miss the entire aspect of playing any instrument, whether it's the voice or the guitar or the piano. The most natural approach is also the one that works best. I mean, when you hold the violin and the bow, it looks terribly awkward. But really, if you're completely relaxed, this is the ideal way to hold the bow. Just flip your hand, place the bow there, and you have it. A lot of people go through all sorts of contortions. It's the same thing with the left hand. The fingers should fall on the string naturally, not leaning toward the nail or other things that you'd be surprised because of the difficulties of the instrument.
You mentioned something interesting last time you were here, that the violin, the hairs in the violin, if I remember you say, the good ones only come from a certain Russian type.
Well,
or
no.
a certain kind of horse?
You didn't listen very good.
Well, you know.
No, it comes from the tail of white horses.
The tail of white horses. Well, that's close, isn't it?
Well, preferably from a colder climate. Now, as we know,
That's why I brought
Russia
Russian,
has
you see. I was in the
Siberia
general area. In other words, a cold horse is what we're really...
with a warm tail.
With a warm tail. Happiness is a warm tail.
No, that's because we better clean this up a
Let's
little.
do that.
There are more barbs.
But I was in the general area, wasn't I?
There are more barbs on a tail from a colder climate because
Of course there are.
It creates greater insulation, right?
Right.
I mean, don't you have more barbs on your blanket in the winter than... No, I guess not. It's an idea.
We'll be right back after this, so stay with us. Dr. William Nolen is with us. He's been with us several times before. He's an eminent surgeon and the author of several books about, well, naturally, medicine and surgery. What do you think he'd write about? And he also writes, well, a man's a doctor. He's not going to write about trees. He writes a regular medical column for McCall's magazine, and we'll certainly need him here tonight. Would you welcome Dr. William Nolen, or Dr. William Nolen? Hello, Doc. How are you tonight?
Fine, thanks, Johnny. How are you?
Good. Good. What do you want to talk about tonight? Last time we talked about a number of things, about how to choose a doctor, doctors' advertising,
right, yeah.
and so forth. Have they gotten any closer to that? Have doctors, the MA, still a little reluctant to let doctors advertise?
Yeah, they're still reluctant, but if you look in the L.A. Times paper, you find that they are advertising. I mean, cosmetic surgeons particularly. One of the things we were thinking of talking about a little bit was this whole problem of unnecessary surgery and elective surgery, and what the difference is,
What is elective surgery?
Well,
something you don't really need at the time, but you...
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a bad term. People have gotten the idea that we're running around unnecessarily operating on people. The fact is that, let's say I did probably, 10 operations in the last couple of weeks, and 6 or 7 of them would probably be classified as not necessary in the strict sense, but appropriate. And I think that's the right word. Well, 4 gallbladders, a couple of hernia repairs. Now, one cancer of the bowel, and one cancer of the bowel.
But that was needed, wasn't it?
Yeah, right. A cancer of the bowel, ruptured spleen, those are needed right away. But the others, you could let them wait to see what kind of trouble they have. But they have symptoms. They want to get rid of these symptoms, and so it's appropriate to remove the gallbladder to do this kind of... the same thing applies in medicine. There are... this surgeon from out east was telling me
Suppose I came into you and said, I want you to take my appendix out, which I've never done.
I
Would you
wouldn't
say,
do it.
Don't do it?
Well, no, I wouldn't do it. I mean, if you came in, you had the signs of an acute appendix.
But don't do it just to have it out.
Well, no. Now, if I were operating on you for another reason, for example, if I were to take your gallbladder, let's say you're having
you take the appendix off for an encore or something?
Well, I would ask the patient, would you like me to remove your appendix while I'm in there? And if you would, I will do it. Well, I mean...
As long as the store is open, you might as well.
Yeah. I mean, you've got the abdomen open. They've had the anesthetic.
Why not,
a lot of patients will say, while you're there, will you take out my appendix? And I always tell them, if it's easy, I'll do it. If it's hard to get at it, then I won't do it. With hysterectomies, the same thing applies. You remove the uterus. If the appendix is sitting right there, and if everything's gone well up to that point, they would like to have it removed just so they don't have to worry about it. But there are a lot of things. in medicine that are a matter of judgment. A surgeon friend of mine back east was telling me about a cardiologist, about a doctor friend of his. Went into he had a bad coronary in his late 60s. He's in the intensive care unit. And his heart stopped 13 times. I mean, he had to be restarted 13 times, applied the electric shock and all that stuff. Now, it's a question of judgment. Should you do this or shouldn't you do this?
Do what?
Well, restart it. Well, honestly, I mean, you get somebody that's this old or that's not too well and has a very, the chances of making it through aren't great. It's a matter of judgment. How far should you go? And afterwards, they were through, all this business that you've been reading in the, about life after life, where people who have been close to death have had visions of themselves. Yeah, they supposedly have died, and they've pictured themselves. I think, of course, as most doctors do, that this is strictly a matter of lack of oxygen going to the brain.
They didn't die.
Yeah, hallucinate. No, you're not really dead. But with this man, they asked him afterwards if he had any visions in the times that his heart had been stopped of what the afterlife might have been like. And he said no. And they said, well, what did you think about it? He said, well, the only two things that concerned me were, first of all, I was afraid there might be an intern on duty who wouldn't know what to do, know which drugs to give or whether to apply the shocks. And the second thing I worried about was that the man in charge of the coronary care unit might have been one of these damn fools that believes in the right to die. I mean, he didn't want anybody taking care of him who felt that, we've started him up 12 times, that's it,
That's where that ethical question comes in.
Right, it's an ethical question. Well, we're faced with it a lot. I mean, I have patients with cancer.
If I'm ever in, would you restart mine?
Yes, and of course, I want mine restarted, at every opportunity. But most surgery is... it's a matter of choice. I had my heart operated, as I've talked about several times here. Now, a couple of my partners didn't think I should have that done. They thought I should go with the medical treatment. I could have done that, and I'd probably still be around, but I would have had to change my lifestyle, which I didn't want to do. I still wanted to play racquetball. I wanted to write. I wanted to practice surgery. I wanted to do all these things.
So you had the bypass.
So I had the bypass done, and I'm able to do all this.
Did they take out your appendix while they were in there?
They were in the wrong cavity.
Oh.
Thank heavens. Yeah. No, they left that behind. I've still got it. Well, anyway, the point I'm making is that when we are accused of doing unnecessary surgery, it's a question not really of unnecessary surgery. It's a question of inappropriate surgery sometimes. And